Hello and welcome to Frank's School. This is the 149th day of the fourth year in the first video. And I guess I'll call it Belem, but from these 2 years, 2012, 2013. I say Belem, it's actually, well, it's Belem, but it's also the Mosteiro dos Jerônimos. And see, this day I had said we made some mistakes. I made some mistakes, and we made some mistakes in the year 2015. And so I'm going back into the archive to show from 2 other trips that I was there, because the filming is better. Now, to see the stuff, you're actually going to have to go to the links. I'll give you 4 links. There's the videos. The 2 indicates the year 2012, when I was traveling with my daughter Erica, that fall when I put it online. The 3 indicates 2013, when Shirley was traveling with me as my driver. And Shirley only got 1 day as a tourist in Lisbon. I mean, that trip was she drove, we rented a car and she drove from, well, that's a whole, if you're interested, I mean, I do think it's interesting. We drove all the way up north to Santiago de Compostela and back. But anyway, I'm going to pull from these 2 things. The first one that I would say is this one. And I would only go, well, unless you want, only go as far as the 48th second in that one. If you go on, which is very nice to see, I think, you'll see a garden of tropical agriculture, which is right there, right within easy walking distance of the, it's right practically beside the Mosteiro dos Jerônimos. You'll see us walking through there. The thing about that is you're going to see that again shortly, within a month, because the last day that I was in, full day that I was in Lisbon, I went back there and I filmed it again. And then also the Garden of Ajuda, the Botanical Garden of Ajuda. Now that's considerably more difficult to see, and it had been one of my goals that year because it was famous, a very famous botanical garden, said to be the prettiest in Lisbon. I'm not so sure about that now, because I found another one, but it's very nice. And so if you like gardens, by all means, go on and watch more of it. Then this one, the next video, is Erica's view of the same thing. Now, once again, if you should only go about as to the 41st second if you're only interested in what the Hocklings and I did that day, because that's down there by Jerônimo. You'll hear me use the word Parteira. Well, there it is. I'll wait there. But again, if you're interested in that Garden of Ajuda and the tropical garden, by all means go on. This is nice stuff, I think. Now, here I jump to the 3rd year, and DO stands for details of. I don't know if this year I'll keep putting that in there or not, but I tend to film details, not so much vast panoramas. In that one, it was 2 years ago. It's the same hostel where the Hocklings and I stayed. The name of it is the Alfama Patio Hostel. I recommend it if you're okay with staying in a hostel, you know, with sleeping in dorms with strangers and stuff. And small, but you know, that's the way hostels are. Let's see, I think here is where you should start. I think what I meant by that is if you only want to see the part that we missed because of our mistakes. And you'll see a better representation in this one. This is my filming of that Parteira. That Parteira, it's special to me because I think it was the first year, or first time. It might have been the second time that I was in Lisbon, either in 1969. That was 1967 was the first time I was there, and then I think it was 1970 was the second time that I was there. I think I've got those numbers right. Anyway, the first time I ever came across a parterre, a garden meant for walking. It literally means by land, but a garden meant for walking through, and I was so taken with it then, and I still am. So I wanted to make sure this year you got to see it. It's a better representation of it. Now, I put this time there is because very briefly, at the 5th minute, 48 second, you see a museum. I think as we're walking, yes, as we're walking away from it, it's a more modern looking building. That's the Museum of Popular Art. And I draw attention to it because to understand then what happened that day, as I talk about these mistakes that were made, it would be of use that you knew that Shirley and I went there. I went out of my way to go to that museum. It's one of my main goals to go to that museum. And you'll hear me mumbling something there that when we got there, we couldn't see the things that I wanted to see. They were gone. And I'll have more to say about that tomorrow, the Museum of Popular Art. Then there are two very famous museums at Belem. There's the monument dedicated to the explorers, and then the Tower of Belem. You'll see them. We did not see them this year with the Hocklings because it was late. We were tired already and hungry, and Shirley's knee was bothering her a lot. But anyway, I would say go to the 8th minute and 44 second, and then if you do this, and then stop, because then we're going to go on to Cascais, and I'll talk about that shortly. And then finally, this video. This is Shirley's work. It's earlier in the year than this year. The Hocklings and I were there at the end of May and into June, and I think Shirley and I were there. I think it was April. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was mid-April that we were there, so it's colder. But so it's earlier in the year. But once again, and she does better work than I do with her filming. Once again, I would go only this far, 3rd minute, 12 second, because then her filming also goes on to Cascais, which I'll have more to say about. All right, kind of confusing. If you really want to get much out of this, you're really going to have to go to these links. But, you know, if you, for example, think about going to Lisbon, as a tourist, or really want to, if you get really curious, I think it would be worth your while because these are major items to see. Bye for now.